Christmas, everybody. We are officially past Thanksgiving, which means Christmas time.
Yep, Christmas cheer.
We're just a few weeks away from Christmas now, so...
That goes really fast.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about Christmas seasons?
I love the joy. I love that everybody, for the most part, everybody just has like this like little bit of joy on top of whatever's happening in their life.
Yeah. I like the fact that there's two Christmas seasons.
Okay.
You have November 1st until the day before Thanksgiving. And then there's like that Christmas season's over. Then you have Thanksgiving Day. And then the next day starts second Christmas season. But have you heard about second Christmas season?
You're so weird today. He's very goofy, actually. Today.
Yeah. So
he gets a little goofy at
Christmas time. Yep. I like to go see the lights and all that. It's a lot of fun.
We're going to take my mom to see the lights this year. It'll be fun.
Oh, boy. Change of plans. Christmas has been canceled. Take the lights down, people. Take them down.
You're so stupid because you act like you hate my mom and you love her so much.
I love to see her go.
Stop.
So, got all your stuff ready for Christmas. We're looking forward to it. Today, we got part 2. I got to get more serious.
Yeah, you do.
Part 2, talking about being married to somebody who's chronically ill. Last time, we looked at it from the perspective of the caregiver. And then today, we're going to be talking about it from the perspective of the one who is ill. And so, I thought the last week's conversation went great, thought it was helpful. We've heard and had some good conversations with people already about it. And so hopefully this will kind of help you to understand a little bit more about what your spouse is going through or about what somebody in your life is going through. Most of us know somebody who is chronically ill. And a lot of times we don't know, if you've not experienced it, we don't exactly know how to be a help during those times.
Yeah.
And so this will shed some light on that and hopefully provide some hope, help, and encouragement to people in your life. So, You ready?
I'm ready.
Gather round, everybody. It's time for a family meeting. The Family Meeting is a show that's all about family relationships. We're the Osterkamps. I'm Thomas, and this is my wife, Lysandra.
Hello and welcome to our family. Welcome to episode 271 of the Family Meeting podcast. On today's episode, we are going to discuss part 2 of chronic illness in marriage. And today we're going to explore what it's like to be the spouse that has the chronic illness. Last week we talked about this topic from the perspective of the caregiver. So today we're talking about the person who's receiving that care. And there's a lot of difficulties for them, and it definitely affects the marriage, and we're going to talk about that. But we want to talk about, like, how can you stay connected? How can you be compassionate? How can you keep a strong marriage in the midst of chronic illness? Because marriage is a challenge.
Yeah.
Even if everyone's in great shape and everybody's doing great, marriage is tough. Then you add in something like chronic illness, and it's like the heat is turned up.
A lot more stress, a lot more pressure, a lot more burden, which just kind of magnifies everything else that happens.
That's right.
And this is kind of one of the things we talk about is things that normally wouldn't really be a big deal. Because of the added pressure, become a big deal.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yep. So just we want to discuss this today and hopefully be a help to those who have chronic illness in their marriage. But also, if you don't, you never know when it could happen.
Yeah.
We were sharing last week that we did not think in a million years that I would begin an illness that was going to last 13 years when I was only 23.
Yeah.
And of course that's what happened. So it can happen to any of us. So that's something to think about. But also there may be someone in your life that you know who has this, and one of the spouses in a marriage is dealing with this. So this will help you to have more understanding and maybe be a better help to them.
Yeah. We are in the heart of the holiday season.
Yes, I love Christmas season.
Just past Thanksgiving. Hopefully you had a great gathering with friends and family and people that you love. and of course, Christmas, New Year's, all that stuff. And it just reminds me of all the things that you have to juggle in your life. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
It's crazy. I know it
how
is.
many things you have to balance at one time. You know, you've got family, you've got yourself, your health, kids,
Your relationship with God.
all the stuff, right? And if only there were somebody who could kind of help us understand how to balance all these different things.
He's going
at once.
somewhere, people. He's going somewhere.
Luckily, I married such a person.
Oh, my.
She has learned how to balance the crazy, and she's here to help all of us do that.
Yes, he is referring to the book I wrote called Balancing the Crazy.
Yes, balancing the crazy. A lot of great tips, practical tips, and suggestions. And this is one of the things that I love about it. It's not written towards men, but I read it because I wanted to balance the crazy in my life. And it is funny, though, how much more expectations it seems women have on them than men.
Oh, yeah. Men, it's like the only real expectation that a man has typically is like,
Don't cheat.
Go to work and don't cheat. Yeah, go to work.
Yeah, go
like,
to work.
Provide financially and don't cheat. Like in general, obviously, different cultures maybe have other things that they would add to that. But in general, that's kind of it.
Well, and one thing I've noticed is like, I'm married and I have 4 daughters. Women just tend to be a lot more judgy.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah. Because most guys, like, they don't really care what's going on over there. Like, you do whatever you're doing. I don't care. I got my own stuff going on. But women are like, we're all in everybody's business. What's she doing? Why is she doing that? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And
She's
it's
a
like
bad sister.
if
She's
one
a
of
bad
my
mother.
neighbors like gets something or has something or does something special, I'm just like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But women, a lot of times, it's expectations they put on themselves.
Right.
And it's expectations that come from outside as well. Mm-hmm. And so it could be a lot to juggle. And as I was saying, one of the things I like about the book is the practicality of it. And just giving you like real world suggestions and thoughts of how to just balance everything that's happening. And so encourage you to pick up Balancing the Crazy if you haven't yet. It's available familymeeting.org/shop, or you can also find it on Amazon. Easiest way to do that is just type in Lysandra Osterkamp, because she is the one and only. So whatever she's got her name on, it's going to pop right up there. I know that it'll be a help and a blessing to you as you seek to balance everything going on in this crazy time.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Christmas is right around the corner, and it does feel like that time from the day after Thanksgiving to actual Christmas Day goes so quickly. It goes so quickly.
I mean, the Christmas season lasts 2 months, but it goes so fast.
Stop with this. Listen, I am one of the people who very firmly, very, very sternly believes that Christmas does not start until the day after Thanksgiving. Fall is all about Thanksgiving and being grateful and focusing in on the things that God has done for you.
Oh, like sending his son to save the world?
Yes, and then Christmas.
And you can't be thankful for it?
Christmas, then you turn to really focus on Jesus and what he has done for us.
Oh, so
and the joy of the season and everything. So I feel like if
all of November, you're not focused on Jesus. Okay, I see how this is going.
It is difficult to have an adult conversation with you.
Yeah, because I make a lot of sense.
No. So I am curious from our listeners, like, are you guys the people putting on Christmas music November 1st?
Yeah, because Halloween ends and then Christmas starts.
No.
And then you have like this little pause because you have Christmas. I was telling YouTubers this. You have 2 seasons of Christmas. You have Christmas 1 that starts November 1st and goes to Thanksgiving. Then that ends and you have Thanksgiving. And then the next day, Christmas 2 starts.
Yeah, so no. I disagree with that. I believe that Christmas is from the day after Thanksgiving until like January 1st. So you get a month of Christmas, but...
I mean, people believe the earth is flat too. So I guess believe what you want to believe. You know what I'm saying?
This is the time that we need to really dive into the discussion for today before we make a bunch of people angry. So we're moving on here. Okay, let's talk about chronic illness.
Okay.
This maybe not be a cheerful, joyful, Christmassy topic, but it's kind of where it fell. And the thing is, though, when you think about chronic illness, it doesn't pause for holidays.
It really doesn't.
It does not stop when everybody else is supposed to be joyful and you're supposed to be joyful. Like, the pain is still there and the difficulty is still there.
Well, and it's like I mentioned last week on the episode, we were talking about it from the caregiver's perspective, but I remember you trying to find a hard place to lay down because of your back, and just literally just like camping out on the coffee table while all this stuff is family gatherings happening around you.
Yeah. I was laying in the middle of the room on the coffee table because I needed a hard, flat surface. If I could lay down flat on a hard surface, it was like the pain would reset. So to a bearable level where I could then walk for a little while. And it's really amazing. The human body is kind of fascinating, isn't it? Like, it was like 20 minutes was my timer. So I had to plan when I laid down and when I got up, because whatever I needed to do, I had like a 20-minute window where then the pain got so bad I couldn't keep moving. And I needed to find a spot to lay down. So I timed everything around that for months and months. So it's kind of fascinating to think about, like, I mean, we got through it and we're fine. But, chronic illness, it like happens in the middle of family gatherings, and it's there when you're trying to celebrate Christmas or you're trying to celebrate your child's birthday or whatever it may be. It doesn't pause for what's going on in your life. And that's part of what's so difficult about it. And the other thing to understand is, like, chronic illness affects every part of your life, especially your marriage relationship.
Yeah.
And we touched on this a little bit last week, but we just want to remind you that it's going to affect the way that your spouse and you interact. It's going to affect sex life. It's going to affect how close you can be physically and emotionally. There's going to be resentment coming into play, probably from both of the couple. From both directions. It hits your emotional world. It hits the spiritual. It hits the physical. It hits the financial. And all of those extra pressures really can make the marriage struggle. And we want to just offer you some hope, because it just because there's a chronic illness doesn't mean that you can't have a sweet, beautiful marriage.
Yeah.
Just because you have a chronic illness doesn't mean that, life is over, you're not useful or whatever. We know that God is the God who heals. He is the God who delivers. He is the God who helps us through. He comforts. And so we want to offer you hope, but we also want to give you some practical tools and some ideas of how you can just really cope with this and continue to get through it.
So last week we talked about things kind of from a caregiver's perspective, and today we want to talk about some of the things that a chronically ill spouse faces. And obviously, when you talk about somebody who's chronically ill, there are certain things that are very obvious that are up front, and then you have kind of some hidden burdens, some things that aren't necessarily apparent up front just by looking at somebody. And I think one of the first things that kind of strikes me about it is identity loss. You would grieve who you used to be.
Yes, right.
Think about who you used to be. Maybe you used to be energetic, and now I'd have zero energy. Independent. And now you've got to have somebody take care of you. Reliable. You used to be able to count on me, and now you can't count on me for anything.
Yeah.
And so chronic illness can feel like the theft of one's former identity, that whoever I was before this illness, I'm not that person any longer.
Yeah, and it's okay to grieve that loss and to to think about it, to be sad about it, and grieve and go through that process, because you have lost something.
Yeah.
It's okay to say that. It's okay to say, I have lost something. I lost who I used to be. And I do remember that period of time when we really thought like I was going to be ill for the rest of our lives. I remember thinking I'm not a good mom because I can't get on the floor and play with my kids anymore. I can't even pick up my children. That's how
Yeah.
it was for a little while.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling like I'm not a good mom anymore. I used to be, but I'm not now. And that hurts. And it is a loss, and it is grief. Another kind of hidden burden that the chronically ill person is carrying is guilt. Oftentimes they'll feel guilty for not contributing enough. And I mean, how could you not feel this?
Yeah.
Like the things that you used to be able to do, you can't do anymore. And now your spouse has to do them. Like there's guilt that's going to come with that, even though it isn't your fault and you can't help it. I remember laying in bed, and so the way that I dealt with this back pain that I had was I had to lay on something hard. Well, our bed, although we've always had very firm mattresses,
Yeah.
our bed was still way too soft. I could not lay in it without excruciating pain. So I got the biggest wooden cutting board that we had, and I put the cutting board in the bed long ways, and I would lay with that on my back. So I would lay on top of a wooden cutting board, and that was how I slept for months and months.
A long time, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it was years, because it was like periods of time where my back would go in and out. But it's funny because I remember laying there in bed on my cutting board and just crying. And I remember asking myself, like, am I faking it? Is this real? Am I actually, can I get up? Maybe I'm just lazy. I'm being lazy. You're lazy. Get up. And like just screaming at myself in my head, like, you're faking it. This isn't real. You're just trying to get out of work. Get up, go be with your family, and just weeping, and there's so much guilt associated with having a chronic illness. Another area where guilt comes from is the financial strain that you've cost your family. Like the fact that you can't bring in any income, the fact that any of your medical bills are costing so much money,
Medicine and all that. Yeah.
Or even if you're going a more homeopathic way, any supplements that you're buying, it's causing your family financial strain. And there's a guilt associated with that. You now have limited shared activities with your family. You can hear from your bedroom, maybe, your kids out there playing and having fun, or your spouse making dinner for the family, and you can't be with them because you just can't get up. And that just hurts. Like you're not there. Needing care instead of giving it. I think so many of us have this innate desire to care for our family, especially women, but men too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And for men, it might be more of a, I'm the man, I'm supposed to financially provide, and I cannot work right now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guilt, I'm sure, associated with that. Would you say that you could imagine what that would be like?
Yeah. And you talk about like the shared activities also. Like I've always loved playing with the kids. Like even last night, I was wrestling around with our daughter Violet over one of her Squishmallows.
Trying to
really
steal the
likes.
waffle.
Yeah. And so just things like that where, you're not able to do those things is so huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Like teaching your child to ride a bike. Like I can't do that physically. Or, being there when pushing them on the swing or climbing trees with them or whatever it may be. But there's guilt associated with all of that. And the guilt can be overwhelming, and it can just make you feel isolated and trapped in that guilt. But you do not have to stay in that guilt. And we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah. But you mentioned the isolation and all that, and that brings up the next kind of thing, and is fear of abandonment. Because even in strong marriages, there is often a deep fear that the partner will eventually get tired, resentful, or drained to a point of emotional withdrawal or departure.
Yeah, that's scary.
And it happens, I don't know what the statistics are. I know stories from our own personal life and ministry. And it seems to be fairly high that when somebody gets a chronic illness, or sometimes it's a child with chronic illness that you have in your family, but it often leads to divorce in a marriage. And so here you are at a very vulnerable state when you can't even hardly take care of yourself, and may not be able to take care of yourself at all. You can't hardly contribute to the family. And so what if they leave me?
Yeah. How long are they going to go on with this? How long are they going to take care of me? When will they give up? When will they leave me? And that's really scary. Another burden that they carry if they're chronically ill is this lots of unseen suffering or understood, right? Like people don't understand their pain.
Yeah.
I remember, and this is so funny. This is one of those things where it's like, man, I'm so stupid. That's how I felt after this. So I remember walking through a grocery store, and I was in a lot of pain, and I was walking funny. Like I was definitely walking funny, but I was trying, like I was holding the cart and everything. And I remember seeing a very old man walk past me with a cane, and he was walking funny. And I literally went, oh, the reason people limp is because they're in pain. Like it had never, I had not connected those dots. And yes, I know that that's really stupid.
Why did you think they were limping?
I thought like physically they couldn't work their body in that way anymore. I thought it was like they just couldn't move their leg in the right way.
I'm sure there are people like that.
Yeah, where like they're not in pain, but it's just my leg doesn't bend anymore or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. And then all of a sudden, like me and this old man are like in the same position walking. And I'm like, oh, he's in pain. And I like all of a sudden just had like so much empathy for everyone I've ever seen limping that I'd not had empathy before. Well, I mean like a certain amount of empathy, but it goes deeper when it's like caused by pain.
Oh,
because
sure.
then
Yeah.
it's not only like inconvenient and annoying and makes you maybe stand out, but now it's also like you're in severe pain and you're trying to push yourself through it.
Yeah.
And so I felt so bad for him and for everybody who limps and everything. But like I didn't even think about that. And I think that until you go through pain yourself, you don't understand certain things
Sure.
about chronic pain. But they're these people who have this chronic pain. A lot of their pain and fatigue or anxiety is invisible. You don't know it. You don't know it's happening there. And so that can feel, you feel misunderstood. Nobody understands this. And you also can feel this pressure to mask symptoms because you don't want to be a burden. I definitely went through that trying to. I didn't do a very good job because I just couldn't. But like you try to smile and your smile looks so forced and stupid.
Yeah.
I remember you'd be like, people would be like, hey, it looks like you're doing pretty well. And I'd be like, yeah. And Thomas would be like, she's not doing well. She's in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Because he
like
could see my eyes.
She's lying to you.
Yeah, she's like, but there is this like kind of pressure to.
Like normal people don't wince just by smiling.
Yeah. But there's this pressure to like minimize it. Because you don't want to be the focus of the event. You don't want everybody to be thinking about you all the time. Or you don't want to like be the wet blanket
Yeah.
in the family situation or whatever else. You don't want to burden your spouse. So you try to hide the pain, hide the fatigue, hide the anxiety, hide all of it. And you're suffering alone. You're trying to suffer in silence. And there's a burden to that.
Yeah.
To carry that.
And we mentioned a little bit ago about, losing your identity and all of that kind of stuff. And part of it is your loss of autonomy. And needing help with basic tasks can quietly erode one's sense of control, dignity, self-worth. And so mentally and emotionally, there's so much that is happening, underneath the surface that you may look at somebody and see, well, they just have like severe back pain, and you don't see it underneath. It's like, why am I even here? Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah.
why it would be better if I were not here.
Yeah. If I'm gonna cause this much problem and I can't be helpful to anybody, why does God have me on this earth?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a very common thought process for those who are in chronic pain. In chronic pain. It gets to a point because you kind of feel hopeless.
Yes. You
lose that hope, and then you start to think about the weight and the burden and everything that your family's going through. And so those thoughts of, hey, maybe it would be better if I weren't here.
Yeah. And the Bible says hope deferred makes the heart sick. And it really does. Like it just, you feel emotionally, spiritually ill. Yeah. I think. There is this like internal pressure too to stay positive. Like, oh, I've got to just be positive all the time. I've got to be the one who's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's good. No, I'm good. It's all going to be okay. And you might just feel responsible for keeping the household like emotionally afloat. And that's a huge burden. Because you're also dealing with your own physical hardship.
Yeah.
So that kind of pressure is really difficult. And staying positive all the time is an impossibility for anyone.
Even you?
Even me. I'm not always positive. You know me more than
You're
anybody.
like the most positive person I know.
I am probably the most positive person that you know personally. I'm sure that there's way more positive people out there than me.
Do you know anybody more positive than you?
That's
a no.
I think so.
Anytime you have to like sing no, you're like,
I don't know. You're putting me on the spot.
Yeah,
I do
that's
know
what we do on the
positive-
podcast.
I know positive people.
I'm not saying you don't know positive people. Do you know anybody who's more positive than you?
I don't know. That's really hard to say. Because I do get negative. You know more than anybody that I get negative. Don't I?
So you can't name anybody else.
Oh my goodness. I'm not going to name people right now.
She's like, I would never call somebody positive. I would never support and encourage them in that way.
This is too much pressure for me right now. I don't know the answer to this question.
But the point is, even the most positive person,
Gets-
upbeat person,
gets negative, right.
gets tired of that's holding down onto that in a
Yes.
chronically ill situation.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And then you have kind of shared emotional thread between you and your spouse. So both spouses often carry a private grief for the parts of their life they had to let go, the dreams that were postponed or lost.
I think about travel. Like one of our dreams has always been to travel together, and like we have a bucket list of travel of things that we'd love to see, and the Lord has provided for us and like allowed us to go places on our bucket list that we never thought we would go.
Yeah.
Through like really surprising, unusual ways, right? But one of our thoughts, like in our dreams, is when the kids are all grown and gone. And when we have a little bit more financial stability to go see some amazing things, right? Like go to Europe and go to certain islands and all of this stuff. And like if one of us became chronically ill, that would be a dream lost. Like that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And that's the one that I think of for us, but it could be so many other things. There's so many dreams in a marriage. And when one person gets chronically ill, a lot of times those dreams are they're done.
Yeah.
It's over.
Well, and also the longing for who they once were together.
Yeah.
You think about who you were together, and just how life is not ever going to be that way probably again. We have some friends of ours here, and it's like she's chronically ill and struggles, and they talked about the fact that they don't really go anywhere, because he has to think about and worry about what kind of chair is she going to be able to sit in because of the pain and everything that she's in. So she can't just like go to anybody's house or go to any restaurant, because if she's not in a certain kind of chair, then the pain is just too much.
Yeah.
And so like they don't go hang out with friends or anything like that.
Yeah.
So you're grieving just parts of your life that you have to, like just going out on a double date with friends. Like you may not be able to do that anymore.
And I think about like, so bringing it personally to Thomas and myself, when I had the bad back stent, we talked about this last episode, how it affected like our sex life and everything, but the loss of who we were. Like we have always been kind of wrestly.
Yep.
Like where we would wrestle each other. He, tickle my feet and I would like try to get away and like that kind of thing. Very wrestly. And of course, when the back pain came in, it was like that was over.
Yeah.
There's no playful. There's no playing around. There's no like, I'm stealing this from you and I'm going to go like chase you down and tackle you and get it back. Like that's the kind of flirting and playfulness that we had. And that was just gone in an instant.
Yeah. And it really, I felt kind of disconnected.
Extremely, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt very disconnected too because of that, and there was like a grief of like the loss of who we used to be together, and that we're not that couple anymore, or hiking or whatever else either. So let's talk about some practical things that you, as the chronically ill person, can do to keep going. or even to support your caregiving spouse without completely sacrificing yourself, right? Because you can do some of these things we talked about, like suffer in silence so they don't know, or lie about the pain so that you're not a burden to them or whatever. But that's not right. Lying is wrong. Like that's just what the Bible says. Like God says, do not lie.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're focusing in on, and we talked about this last week, but want to emphasize it here as well, is you're talking about the best long-term care for you and your spouse.
Yes.
During this. And so by holding back information, like that's not good long-term for your marriage.
No.
It's not good long-term for your relationship.
Exactly.
Trying to be the strong person that, isn't making everything known and just kind of quietly trying to suffer through it. That's not going to be what's best long-term for your relationship. Because eventually you're going to resent them for not knowing or paying attention or doing or being what you want or need them to be. Yeah,
and you can only hold that up for so long. Like we all only have so much that we can handle before we break. And when you do break, it's going to be bad. So it's much better to communicate clearly. So this is the first thing we want to really encourage you to do. Communicate clearly and gently. Okay, so you got to be nice. Now, here's where I want to turn it towards Thomas.
Oh, boy. Here we
go. Thomas is very bad at being sick.
I'm not a good patient.
He's the worst patient. And the way Thomas deals with his pain is he's mean. You're super mean when you're sick. You're like, why didn't you bring me that? Where are you? Where have you been? Why didn't you bring me like, why would I want water without ice? Like, he's just mean. You're like, that's not nice. Like, just ask me for ice. I'll get you ice. I'm sorry.
First of all, I had the vasectomy for you.
He was so mean after his vasectomy that I finally had to have like a talk with him. And I was like, listen, I want to take care of you. I love you, but I am not okay with you talking to me like this. You cannot speak to me this way. And he apologized immediately and changed the way that he talked to me.
I tried.
You definitely were better after that little talk. But even like after I gave birth to Isabella, you were sick, but we didn't know you had like terrible food poisoning or the flu or something terrible.
I think it was food poisoning.
Food poisoning. Yeah. It was terrible. So he was very sick, but we didn't know it at that moment. And he was like really not nice to me after Isabella was born because you were sick.
Yeah.
You're just like not good at being sick. And so some of you might be that way and you're chronically ill. Like that's tough.
Yeah.
To constantly be like trying to control that like desire to just be mean or just like let it all go. Because all of us, in order to be kind, we have to have self-control. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like whether we're in the best mood or not, like in order to be kind, it takes self-control, which is a fruit of the Spirit. And it takes the Spirit of God to help us be kind, right? So some of you need a lot more help with this than others.
Yeah.
Especially if you're chronically ill, because it's hard to be nice when you're in pain.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't even know you're doing it.
Absolutely. I would say most of the time you probably don't even know.
Yeah.
But when you're in pain, this is something that's interesting about pain. Pain like takes over all your focus. So like you each of us only have such a capacity to focus on multiple things at once, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in pain and it overwhelms your mind where you're like, okay, if I move this way a little bit, maybe that'll help. Don't think about the pain. It hurts so bad. And then you're also trying to have a conversation with someone. And you're like, I have no idea what they just said. All I was thinking about is if I move a tiny bit, maybe it'll relieve some of the pain. Or how long can I sit in this chair before I have to move? Or whatever. And so it's hard to focus on conversations. Then you're also trying to be nice.
Yeah.
Like that's really hard. So you do need to work at this, though, to communicate clearly, but also gently and in a kind way about your needs, right?
Yeah.
So this means no more lying or pretending you don't need something or pretending that it doesn't hurt. But it's about being honest and being nice, the truth in love, which we're often told. We often point to this in our family meetings. We point to the truth in love because that's what the Lord has told us to do. That's how we're to communicate. Because the thing is, like, when you're not communicating clearly, your caregiver is now guessing.
Yeah.
They're making guesses. And that's a lot more stressful and it produces a lot of anxiety. Or they could be overextended, or they're worrying about you, but they're doing that in silence because there's no communication.
Well, you're talking about they're guessing, and it makes me think of our friends Drew and Stacy. Stacy's mom is having a lot of issues with her health, and she now has a hard time communicating about what she actually needs or what's going on. And so a lot of it is them trying to learn her different responses and trying to guess, like, okay, is she hungry? Is she tired? Does she need to go to the bathroom? Is she in pain? And that's so tough. So
It's so stressful.
however you can communicate what the situation is, it's more helpful for them, which ultimately is more helpful for you also.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so simple, honest, gentle communication. Here's what it could look like, all right?
Okay.
Thomas, here's what I need today. Here's what I can do on my own. Here's where I really need your help. This is my pain level today, and I'm really struggling emotionally. Or I'm having negative thoughts about myself, or I'm having suicidal thoughts today, and I just need you to know it. So things like that. Communicating honestly. Another thing that you can do is you can say, give a lot of affirmations and, thank you for taking care of me. I really appreciate you're doing such an amazing job, and I'm so grateful for you. In the future, when you bring me water, can you put ice in it? It just makes it so much more pleasant for me. So something simple, right? You're expressing how grateful you are to them, and then also asking for maybe a more specific need that could, it kind of sounds a little like high maintenance. I need ice. But if the only way that you can get water for the rest of your life is through this person, they might as well know that it makes it a lot more pleasant when you have ice in it. Right?
Yeah.
I'm high maintenance. He's laughing at me because
you are high maintenance.
Would you want ice in your water? Like, would you be like, hey, when you bring me water, just make sure it's cold? Or what would you say?
No, I
wouldn't care.
Don't. I sometimes I have ice in my water, sometimes I don't.
Here's the deal. I need my water in a certain cup. If it has ice, I need a straw.
Don't even ask about the straw either.
If you bring me a cup of water and it is in one of those glass mason jars with like the screw where you can screw on a lid,
yeah,
and my lips have to touch that like screw thing at the grooves of the screw, like, no, I can't drink that water. You better hope I don't ever get like chronically ill forever, because we're going to be in trouble. Actually, I'd probably have to let a bunch of stuff go, wouldn't I?
You're pretty high maintenance.
I'm pretty high maintenance, which I take care of myself for most of the things. But if I had to rely on you, I didn't for a long time. That's true. But then it was just like, okay, this is my water cup. This is my coffee cup.
Yeah.
And then it's okay, right?
I mean, that was a number. That's two of the things, but yeah.
What other things were there?
Your pillow a certain way.
Yes.
The temperature has to be a certain way. The blanket's a certain way.
Socks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is a certain way.
It's exhausting, isn't it?
It can be. But we talked about that last week.
You did an amazing job.
So
you did an amazing job. But communication is the first step.
Well, and the thing is, clear communication reduces stress, resentment, and misunderstanding for both of you.
Yeah.
And so we say this in every part of marriage, and it's true in this aspect as well. Like, the more you communicate, the clearer you communicate, the better off your relationship is going to be. Because everybody knows what the expectations are, what the needs are, and you can go from there. And Lysandra touched on this just a second ago, but another thing that you can and should do is acknowledge your spouse's effort. And you don't need grand gestures to do it, right? Simple words go a long way.
Oh, yes.
Just things like, thank you for helping me today.
Yeah.
And you are always good at this. You are always very thankful. You're a thankful person, a positive person. I don't know a more positive or thankful person than you.
Don't ask me if I know one. Violet's more thankful than I am.
Violet's pretty thankful, yeah, but she gets that from you for sure. But you were always good about that. Thank you for getting my water. Thank you for putting my socks on, whatever it is. But it does go a long way. None of us, I don't care, if it's the person you love more than any person on the planet, none of us like to feel like we're taken for granted.
No.
And
it's a bad feeling.
Just some simple words like, I see how much you're doing.
I think that's a really good thing to say. I see how much you're doing.
Yeah.
That means so much when someone says that to you, because the caregiver is working hard. They are taking on extra duties. They are caring for you. And it can feel oftentimes like they're unseen.
Yeah.
So saying those words, I see you. I see how much you're doing. Wow.
Well, and feeling appreciated helps your spouse feel less alone in carrying that burden and more valued.
Absolutely.
Like that they understand you value the care and the effort and the energy and the love that they're giving.
Yeah. Yep. And then here's something too to think about. Do what you can, not what you can't. So don't try to do things you can't do. But even on hard days when you're really struggling, small contributions can help maintain that partnership. So maybe you can't carry the laundry, but you can fold the laundry, right? And we talked about kind of what happened in our relationship about this last week. So what can you do? Can you, can you help your children with their homework with math flashcards? Right. You can't maybe sit at the table and help them with their math homework, but can you lay in your bed and turn the flashcards, right? Finding the things that you can do. Is there a small task that you could do? And you could even ask your spouse, is there a small task that I can do that would help help lighten your load? And oftentimes, though, really, this is going to come from you more than your spouse, because you are really the only one who knows what you can handle. Your spouse will make guesses, and based on your responses to things, they're going to probably be like, oh, that was too much for them. But you're the only one who can feel your pain, who understands the, let's say the way, like if you overdo this day, how bad it's going to be the next day.
Yeah.
You're the only one who can understand like how you're going to pay for a certain amount of energy or effort. So you are the one who really needs to be able to say like, I can handle that. That's something I can do. Oh, bring me that and I can dry, or like put a chair up by the sink. I can dry the dishes. If there's little things that you can do, it's going to lighten your spouse's load. But not only that, it's going to make you feel better. You will feel like I contributed. I had some purpose today, and that feels good. Also, these small acts reassure your spouse that you're still their partner. You're still a team. I'm not just your patient. I'm your teammate, and I still want to be part of the team. And maybe those are the words you need to tell your spouse, because maybe they don't want you to help because they feel like, no, I'm taking care of you. Help them to understand, I want to be part of this team.
Yeah.
And this makes me feel part of the team.
Along with the communication, is protecting your spouse from unnecessary worry, not by hiding symptoms, but by telling them what's truly urgent versus what's frustrating but manageable.
That's good.
Keeping your medical information organized. Having a plan for flare-ups or emergencies, and we talked about how important that plan was in last week's episode. Yeah, because the thing is, like, clarity reduces fear and helps your spouse respond calmly when things happen. Sometimes, depending on what your makeup is, it's like you're either really good in emergency situations or you're kind of like a panic, like a lot of energy in those moments. And so it's like Lysandra and I, there were certain emergencies where I was the one who took care of it.
And all of parenting. If it was a decision of whether or not the kids had to go to the ER, Thomas had to make that decision. I could not emotionally make that decision.
Yeah.
And so anytime, like we had, Isabella was in the ER so often.
She went more than the other girls for sure. Yeah.
But did they all have a visit to the ER? Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah.
But Isabella was like maybe probably 9 months, 10 months old, and she was dropped on her head by someone, and her head hit the corner of the coffee table. Yeah. So I was like, what do we do? And he's like, I'm going to the ER. And I would stay with the kids at home, and he would go to the ER. That was something that he could handle better.
If they had a cut, I was the one who decided, okay, is this fine, or do they need stitches?
Is this super glue, or is this a Band-Aid, or is this the ER?
Yeah.
Right. It's amazing how many times you have to make those calls.
Yeah.
When parenting small children.
It does, yeah.
It happens a lot, actually. I mean, there were multiple times.
Yeah. But especially like if you are chronically ill and you know your spouse like has a hard time with emergencies, whatever you can do to help keep things organized, so that when the flare-ups happen, when an emergency happens, it's less they have to think about and worry about. It's like,
Right.
okay, when this happens, this is kind of the steps: 1, 2, 3, 4.
And I love this idea of like communicating to your spouse what's urgent and what's manageable, right? So there were times when I would have to say, he would say like, how are you? Are you okay? Or whatever. And I would say, I am in pain, but I am okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not saying I'm good to go, nothing hurts. I am in pain, but I am okay. Like I am managing it with what we're doing right now. And then there were other times where I would say like, you have to help me get up. I need help getting up right now. I have to get up immediately, because
Yep.
I had to change the position that I was in to be able to cope with that pain. So just helping them understand the difference between like the pain that you can manage and whatnot. Creating an emotional connection that's not about illness. That is something that you can do that can really help your marriage. Your spouse needs to feel loved by you, not just responsible for you.
Yeah.
Make sure that you are expressing love in their love language, right? I mean, hit all 5 love languages. I love using all 5 love languages, but especially the one that they receive love best in.
Well, and this is the thing too, because like we talked about before, depending on what your love language is, like mine is time spent, physical touch, and we're at a point where it's like, don't touch me, like because it hurts, it's painful, and so like how we used to communicate love and have that connection is not there anymore. So you have to figure out other ways that you can make that connection, because it's so easy just to fall into that routine of like patient caregiver.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, that is part of your relationship now, but that's not the totality of what your marriage is supposed to be. And so you have to work extra hard. And it kind of took us a while to figure out, like, how do we navigate this now that the way we used to do our relationship, we can't do it that way anymore.
Well, and I remember this was so funny because I had to lay a certain way. And every night, and we've talked about this on the podcast, every night I rub Thomas's head as he falls asleep. So I remember you like positioning yourself in a weird way in the bed so that you could be where the only spot where my hand could be so that I could rub your head.
Yes.
You're like contortionist, like laying all weird, and just to be where my hand is so that I could rub your head. So we had to do some weird things to make it work. But this is difficult. This is hard. How can I have this emotional connection? How can I show my spouse that I love them even though I'm stuck in this bed or I'm stuck in this house or whatever it may be for you? So just communicating love for sure. Maybe it is like getting them a little gift, that little thing that would bring them joy. Thank God for Amazon. You can shop from your bed, right?
Yeah.
But be careful with that too. Because if you really can't go places and do things, then Amazon could become your only source of entertainment. So to be careful with that.
Yeah, and if you've got financial strain because of medical issues.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be buying a lot, but buying a little gift might be okay. All right. But asking them about their day, asking them about their dreams, their stresses, maybe watching a new show together that's like your show together. Hold hands. Most of the time you can hold hands.
If not pinkies.
Yep. We did pinkies for a while. That was all we could do. Maybe it's hugging. Can you hug your spouse? It is amazing how your relationship can, in a caregiver patient situation, it can become sterile like a hospital. And maybe you just want to think like, when was the last time I just hugged my spouse? Thomas and me even can go days without hugging because our lives are very busy and we are together all the time, but we're together working all the time, whether it's painting, podcasting, church stuff, or whatever. And like the other day I was leaving. It was yesterday, right?
It was yesterday,
It was yesterday. I was leaving and you were being all goofy for one thing.
I mean, I always am.
You are. And I was like, I have to go. I'm going to be late. I have to get to this client's house. And he was like, well, hug me first. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll hug you. And then I said, I can't trust you with a hug. And sure enough, I could not trust you with that hug either. But
Yeah.
But when was the last time you just stopped and gave your spouse a hug? It's so simple and so stupid that we can't, that we can go days without giving our spouse a hug. It's so simple. So give them that hug. Offer that affection in any way you can comfortably give affection. Because remember that emotional intimacy is going to nourish both of you. It's an investment in the relationship, in the marriage. And your spouse needs to feel loved by you. So get creative. How can you make them feel loved?
I think another thing you can do for your spouse, and this is a way that you can show love and concern for them as well, is to encourage them to have a life outside of caregiving.
Yeah, that's good.
Like, even just saying things like, I want you to rest. And it goes a long way, because part of that is you're recognizing the burden and the extra effort and work that they're going through in this stage of your lives together. Encouraging them to go out with your friends. Like, I'll be okay.
Yeah, so not like, go out with your friends, I'll be okay by myself here alone.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not the same as, go out with your friends. I promise, I'm going to be okay. I'll be fine. Have fun. And then when they get back from their friends, it's not, well, it must be nice to be able to go out, right? We're not guilting them. We're not shaming them. We are truly, genuinely happy that they had some good in their life, right? So think about the way you say things too.
Yeah. And I think you could even go an extra mile here and like call or text a family member or a friend to say, hey, can you come sit with me just so my husband like feels okay going out tonight?
Yeah,
like I want him to go out. I want him to have a break.
Yeah. Set up your own care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
that's
a way that, hey, you're encouraging your spouse to get out. And because if for instance, if Lysandra told me that, like, hey, go out with your friends, I'm going to be okay. We have small children at home, and she's not able to do hardly anything. So if I'm going out, the only thing I'm thinking about the whole time I'm out is I'm feeling guilty.
Yeah.
Because I left my wife at home with our daughters, my sick wife at home, who's not able to do anything, like hardly get to the bathroom by herself. Some days she couldn't. And so there's no way I can enjoy that or do that. But, if your mom or sister would come over and sit with you, it was like you were taken care of. Mm-hmm. You also were getting that time with them, which is good for you and good for them. And so then there's less things that I have to worry about.
Right.
Like, I'm still worried about, like, are they gonna help you in the same way and the same level that I would, because I know you better than anybody else. But at least it relieves that burden and makes it possible.
Yeah.
Encouraging them with their hobbies, whatever they are. And so, caregivers often need explicit permission to step away.
Yeah. Sometimes I think we can think like, well, of course I want you to go. How did you not know that? Right.
Yeah.
So you need to say the words.
Well, and because we want to take care of you. It is the top priority in our lives at this point, is to make sure that you're taken care of. And so most spouses aren't just going to set up and walk out and walk away themselves. Like they need that permission. And the thing is, like, letting them recharge is a gift to both of you, because the more that your caregiver is refreshed and recharged, the better they're going to do at taking care of you, especially in the long term. So
Yeah.
it can go a long way by just encouraging them to have that life outside of caregiving.
Yeah, that's important. Also, respect your limits, understand your boundaries, your limits, what you can do. It's okay for you to have limits too. Be honest about your limits, more kind of communication. But here's something to really consider. Trying to push yourself to spare your spouse often backfires. It leads to more flare-ups, more stress, more pain, less that you can do, less independence for you.
More they have to do.
Exactly.
Like, you're actually doing more damage in the long run.
Yes. So don't try to spare your spouse by pushing yourself harder than you need to. Listen to your body. Listen to what you can do. Pay attention to, like, okay, when I did that, this happened, right? And it's like, you've got to pay attention to what happens in your body. Your spouse is better supported when you rest before you crash, okay? So you've got to pace your activities. You've got to say things like, I need a break, right? So like, I think about when we would go walking, and it was like, okay, I can walk for this far. All right, I need a break. And I would literally lay down on a sidewalk.
Yep.
Just lay down on a sidewalk. Okay, I need 5 minutes. All right, now I'm good. Let's go again, right? So paying attention to that and following your treatment plan, this is going to help, right?
I remember thinking like people seeing us and be like, is this guy trying to kidnap this woman? What's going on here? Why is she laying on the sidewalk?
Right. Why is he dragging her? But honoring your limits actually protects your spouse, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. Keep that in your mind. Like, start to believe that honoring your limits protects your spouse.
And one of the things we encourage you to do is to build a support network beyond your spouse.
Yes.
And we touched on this a little bit for the caregivers in last episode, but I think it's important for you to stop and to think about as a chronically ill person as well. And I know this can be hard for some of you because we like to feel like we have it all together. We want people to think like we're strong, that we can handle it. We don't want to inconvenience people. And it's like, I'm already inconveniencing my husband, or I'm already inconveniencing my wife. And it can be difficult. But one of the things to stop and to think about is the larger your support network is, the more that you're being a support and encouragement to your spouse. It's less that they have to personally carry in some of the things they can't carry or do, and they shouldn't be doing. So you're lightening the weight on your partner. And so who are the people in your life that you can invite in? Maybe you haven't invited them in to be a part of it. I will say there's probably a lot of people in your life that would love to be a part of it.
Yes.
They'd love to help support and encourage you. We talked about like a church family and what that's all about and how important that is. And there are people in your church who would love to make a meal. They'd love to sit and talk with you.
Yes.
Or sit and watch a show together or a movie or whatever. Just spend some time together. They'd love to come over and clean your house.
Yes.
And I know you did this for people more than once, where you just go over and they're chronically ill and they're struggling, they have surgery or whatever else, you'd go and clean their house.
Yeah.
And so you think about those people that they would love to be there. So whether that's friends or family, I mean, maybe they're doing errands, there's online support groups, therapy. You know, you talk about sometimes the self-worth and all that. Like, the beautiful thing about today and this age of technology is even things like a therapist, like you can get online. Yeah. And so you may not physically be able to get up and go to a therapist's office and sit in the waiting room and do whatever else. But hey, we can put the laptop up and we can find that. And medical advocates and all of this kind of stuff. The more support you have, the less pressure falls on your spouse's shoulders.
That's right. So work together to adapt your life, right? You're not fighting your body. What you're doing is you and your spouse are becoming a team. And you're teaming up in how to modify the tasks and routines and schedules and organizing the home in order that you can have a really great life with what you're dealing with. Figuring out what is the best time of day. And make sure that you're practicing compassion towards yourself and towards your spouse, okay? Your spouse doesn't need to be perfect. Yeah. You don't need to be perfect, all right?
You're not going to be. Neither of you are going to be.
Yeah. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your spouse, all right? Self-compassion is really important, and compassion for yourself is important. And we understand that what you go through is exhausting and it's awful.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be honest with yourself and say, this is awful. This is hard. I hate this.
Yeah.
You've got to be honest about these emotions. Stop trying to push them off. Acknowledge what you're going through. But at the same time, know this. Your suffering is seen by God.
Yeah.
He cares. Psalm 38:18 says, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. And suffering that goes on for a long time, this chronic illness, whether it's months or years, it crushes your spirit. It breaks your heart. It hurts emotionally and physically. And understand that I know that it feels like God maybe has gone quiet or something, but Scripture promises that God moves closer, not farther away, to those who are hurting. And if you draw nigh to God, He will draw nigh to you. So understand that truly God cares about you. He sees what you're going through. And He is there with you. he is with you in that suffering.
And I love that verse in Psalm 34:18 that you just shared with us. And for those who may not be familiar, that's written in the Old Testament. And you move into the New Testament, we see the life of Jesus, and we see that practically played out in his life and in his interactions with people. I mean, there were times where he literally went a certain direction on a certain day so that he could meet with one person who was hurting, who was struggling, who needed help. And so he does, as Lysandra mentioned, he does see you. He does care about you. And another thing that, we talk about scriptures that bring encouragement, bring a little clarity and understanding to the moment, because you going through those times of pain and chronic illness where it looks like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, we can become very discouraged. But this is one of those things that I want you to just stop and consider for a moment. These words from the Apostle Paul, and he talks about the fact that God's power is made perfect in weakness. Mm-hmm. When we are strong and healthy, we can get to a place where I don't really think about God.
Yeah.
I don't really need God. Those things
dangerous.
They come into our mind maybe, but a lot of times they don't. We just live our lives practically like we don't need God.
Right.
But through illness, through pain, through health situations, through chronic illness, we are reminded that how much we need God. And you are a vessel. You are chronically ill. You are a vessel for God to show his strength, power, love, and compassion through.
That's beautiful.
In such a powerful way. And so I want you to see, even in this time in your life, God has a purpose for you. Mm-hmm. And God can and will use you in great ways. I think of our friend Adrian, who is one of the kindest people I know.
Absolutely.
A great picture of Jesus, and faith.
Amen.
And she lives out these words in 2 Corinthians 12:9, where Paul writes, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." And of course, this is a situation where Paul has some sort of problem, some sort of health issue, and there's a lot of theologians who have been debating for 2,000 years about what that might be. We don't exactly know. We know that it was something that bothered him, something that seemed to hamper him, and he was just like, "God, please take this away." And 3 times he was praying, "God, take this away from me." And God's like, "No, I'm not going to take it away. My grace is all you need in this time. And it's through your weakness that I can show my strength and my power, my love, my grace." And so when you think about the weakness you're facing right now, fatigue, fear, limitations, frustrations, that's not a failure. It becomes the very place where God pours in grace, tenderness, and resilience that you could not manufacture on your own.
Amen. If you would like more information, if you want maybe a bonus resource, we have that for you. Chronic Illness Marriage Support Guide. All you have to do is email info@familymeeting.org, and we will send you this Chronic Illness Marriage Support Guide. It's a great way to get a little more help, maybe a little more on this topic.
So, family meeting tonight, you're gonna sit down and just talk to your spouse about how you're feeling right now in the midst of your suffering, in the midst of your battle with your illness. And you're gonna be clear, right? You're gonna be open about what you're feeling, what you're going through, what you need, how they might be able to help you better. But remember that, as Lysandra mentioned, the gentle side. Speak the truth, but speak the truth in love. Make sure you're being kind. And I would start off the conversation by showing gratitude, by saying, "Hey, I see what you're doing for me. I appreciate the extra effort." And you start to specifically name the things. Maybe it is like putting the ice in the water or putting the socks on, making sure the temperature in the room's just right. But you're recognizing exactly what they're going through, and maybe then you're having some opportunity to say, "Hey, this is what I really need from you in this season. This is what this looks like." And if if you or your spouse is not going through this time, you're having a conversation about what can we do to be a help and a support, encouragement to somebody that we know. Like, can we take them a meal? Can we, bring over some groceries? Can we sit and just maybe have a movie night? You don't have to go anywhere. We'll come over, I'll pop some popcorn or whatever, and we'll have a movie night. And so just thinking of some meaningful ways where you can be a help and encouragement to somebody in your circle who's going through a lot right now.
Thanks for joining us today. Please go and subscribe to the Family Meeting Podcast from your favorite podcast provider. And if you found this information helpful, please share this episode on social media and invite your friends and family to listen in with you.
To find more content and information Lysandra and I provide, you can go to our website, familymeeting.org, or email us at info@familymeeting.org. If you'd like to shoot us a text or call us, you can send a voice message at 904-257-3062.
And we want to invite you to join us for our next family meeting as we discuss how to get your kids to listen to you without raising your voice. No yelling.
Hopefully you'll learn this.
Me? That's funny. I've never been a yeller.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to watch YouTube to know the kind of looks he's giving me. Yelling is not my thing.
Thanks for joining us today for this family meeting. I'm sure I'm going to hear about this later, but have a great week, everybody. This meeting is adjourned.
It's funny because right now I want to yell at you so bad.
I know.
I just want to be like, ah.
Yeah. So we'll have the kids on pretty soon. About every 25 episodes we have them on, and then we'll ask them, does mom yell?
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll see.
They just told me the other day, we had a conversation in the car. Oh, it was because they heard another mom yell at their kids. And they were like, I'm so glad you never yelled at us, Mom.
But we're going to put...
And I remember thinking, thank God they feel that way. Because there were times that I yelled, but it was almost never. It was like very rare.
Well, we'll put you under the microscope. I'll just ask them a bunch of questions about mom.
I don't want to do that at all. I think that's a bad idea.
All right. Well, we appreciate you joining us for this episode. She's about to fall asleep, so we've got to go. And you've got some Christmas shopping to do because Christmas season 2 has begun. See you later.